Good morning, Flosstube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. It is August the 24th, and I am finally back for my 9th video. I apologize for my absence this summer. As you can imagine, with Adam and the family being here, it's hard to find time to do a video or to watch Flosstube or even to stitch. That kind of time was just not there this summer. But Dan and I thoroughly enjoyed having Adam and his family with us this summer, and we had a good time getting to know our granddaughters, and it went well. I think better than I expected it to go. I mean, anytime you move a family in with Dan and I have been on our own for a couple of years. Abby was there, but she kind of came and went. So anytime you add 4 more people to the household, it's going to be difficult. But I thought it went really, really well. They have moved out into their own home. They bought a house. Oh gosh, it was maybe maybe 2 weeks after Marcia arrived that they put a bid in on a house, and after some negotiation they did get the house. So they're moved out of ours. All their stuff, most of their stuff is now at their new house, and they're working on getting it unpacked, and we miss having them with us, but it's also kind of nice to have our alone time and get some stitching time in and get back into a routine. Rags came to the shop with me all summer long, and that went well too, but I found I tend to stop at Hobby Lobby on my way to and from work, and when you've got the dog in the car you can't do that, and so I haven't been to Hobby Lobby since June. They're probably going to go bankrupt with me not being there, but I intend to stop tonight on my way home because I did not bring Rags with me today. I'm going to start today with those long promised shout outs, only as I said, time has been a little short this summer, so I watched a video here and there, but I didn't take notes and I didn't leave comments, so I'm just going to run down some of the people, the list of some of the people that I've watched, and apologize for not commenting. I know I love to receive comments, so I'm sure all of you do too, and I apologize for not doing that. I think it's important. But anyway, I'm going to start with Michelle Rudy, Farm Girl. I'm glad to see she was gone about the same amount of time as I've been gone, and I caught her video last night. So it was good to see her again and hear about her summer. Pam and Steph just keep stitching. Who doesn't watch Pam and Steph? They're a hoot, and they do some beautiful work. So thank you for your videos. McKenna, everyone knows and loves McKenna, and I want you to know that I saw your video where you thanked me for the coasters I sent, and I did get your thank you card, and thank you for sending that. And as far as the argument that it does not look like you because there was no cleavage, Dan and I recognized that there was no cleavage on those coasters, but the face looks just like you. It's a beautiful face. So yes, you kind of stuffed your boobs down into that seashell a little bit, but the face still looks like you. D Squared, if you're not watching them, they're a hoot also. That's a couple of ladies, and they have a good vibe between them, the two of them, and have a good time. Bendy Stitchy, Michelle Garrett. Her videos are awesome. And then Yvonne, Night Owl Stitcher. Everyone's watching her, I believe, but if you're not, get over there and watch her. I picked up Lily Pad Revivals and watched some. I don't think I made it through the entire video, but I was enjoying it until I think it was Emma came running in and I had to shut it off and play with Emma. So Schoolhouse Stitcher, check her out. Priscilla and Chelsea. I have watched or read, seen all of the above. Priscilla and her finishes, and they're just awesome. And I'm kind of envious because her daughter is now stitching, and that I would love for one of mine to share my passion for cross stitch, but I don't see it happening. So I'm a little envious of that relationship. But they have a good time, and it's wonderful to see their stitching, and you should check them out if you haven't. Arlene Cohen, her videos are always very informative. She's doing designing, and she did this awesome shoe pattern based on one of McKenna's shoes. Beautiful pattern, and she's giving it free, so hop on over there if you want to learn how to get that. And that's about all I've managed to catch this summer, so I'll try and do better now that things are calming down a little bit. But we're gearing up for the wedding. Abby's getting married in December, so we have 80 centerpieces to try and make between now and then, and mints for 700 people, and I'm going to have to find something to wear to this shindig, and I'm sure that, my sister and I are going to host well, Melanie's giving it, but it's going to be here at the shop, a shower for Abby in October. I've got retreat in October, so I kind of would like to just skip over the next few months and get into January, and maybe things will calm down a little bit, but probably something else will crop up to take the rest of its place. So let's see, what else was I going to talk about? I have had some wonderful visitors in the shop this summer that have seen me on Flosstube and have stopped in on their travels. That was kind of fun. Most recently, there was a lady a gal from Houston that came up to Nebraska for the great eclipse. I have to say that Dan and I were both a little bit disappointed. He came to the shop so we could watch the great eclipse together, and both of us were kind of like, well, that was a lot of nothing. It's gotten darker with the thunderstorm, and there were so many clouds you really couldn't see it anyway, so it's kind of a waste of time. I'm sure other places it was wonderful to see, but not here. What else? Is there anything else I need to talk about before I jump into this? Trying to go fast because it took my computer forever to get up and running this morning, and it's almost 10 o'clock now, so we'll see how this goes. I think that's all I had to say about that kind of thing. So I will start with what's new in the shop, which there doesn't seem to have been a whole lot of new stuff released this summer that anyone's really been interested in, including me. I have added nothing to my stash this summer. So, which is not necessarily a bad thing since I have plenty. But I do have Paulettes, a couple of Paulettes that I pulled to show you. So we will start with Judge Not, which is her cute little sheepies. I'm sure you've all seen them. It was stitched on 36 count Stars Hollow Blend, which I will show you because I pulled it. Which is a very nice neutral beige fabric. It's an overdye, but there's not a lot of modeling or anything. It's pretty much just a solid, at least this batch is just a solid color. And then I pulled the floss for you so you could kind of get an idea on that. If I can get it held up without dropping anything. So those are the colors. Very pretty. That one's been popular. It has sold quite a few charts. It's cute. I know one gal was going to stitch the sheep, but she didn't care for the Judge Not that ye not be judged. So she was going to change the words a little bit to suit her, which I thought was a great idea. We have Thank from Lizzie Kate, and this way so you can actually see it. And that one calls for 32 count like light mocha Belfast linen. And then the Elves Did It, which is stitched on 32 count light mocha. New from Jardin Privé, ABC Halloween, which I think is kind of cute. Love the upside down bat. The witch on the broomstick. Or not the witch, the cat. The cat on the broomstick. The witch's legs. It's cute. 20 count vintage country mocha. I think we could do better. Kitten Bixby. Their line of cat charts has been, I've got some hardcore cat stitchers, and so they're eating this one up, which is On Halloween Night. See if you can get a good. So that one, Lizzie Kate's Autumn Smalls. These are stitched on 32 count Natural Light. Comes with the button pack. Those are adorable. And again, I don't have a lot of autumn stuff, so I should probably stitch those up. The Tiny Tidings, always cute. This year's no exception. Again, Lizzie Kate. Scissortail Designs. A Bewitching Halloween. It says Have a Bewitching Halloween and Happy Haunting on it. 2 different charts in one. And it calls for Aspen, Weeks Dye Works Aspen Linen 32 count, which I have never seen that color, so I really can't tell you what it looks like. But I would imagine it's kind of a, aspens are kind of white, so I would imagine it's a lighter colored fabric. Schoolhouse Coverlet. Another pin drum. Those seem to be popular. It looks like this would be stitched in black. I'm here to tell you that It is not. It is Fathom, which is a dark navy. I don't know if I can get the right color, but trust me, this is a navy. There, that almost looks better. It's navy, not black. It's cute. I'm not sure I'm ready to do another pin drum after the Uncle Sam one, but someday I will. Lila's Studio, she's been doing seasonal pillows. This one is winter, which is my favorite of the seasons. And I went ahead and pulled, it calls for Dapple, which I don't have Dapple in the correct count, but I do have it in a 32. It's kind of got a green base, it's a green based gray. Very pretty. And I pulled those threads also. Let me get them laid out here. I think that's beautiful. Just gorgeous. So there's that. Excuse me. There's only so much room at the table. Okay, 1,000 Hills. This is also from Paulette. Look at those spotted cows. So cute. The saying, and I didn't put my glasses on, so, well, wait a minute. Here we go. Maybe I'll be able to read it. The fowls above the Lord doth know, the earth with wonder he fills. The beasts of the forest belong but to him, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. So that's what the saying is. It calls to be stitched on 36 count winter brew. Uses mostly classic colorworks and a couple of weeks dye works, which I pulled. Again, I don't have the, well, I think I do. I just couldn't find it quickly this morning. I've got 32 count winter brew here to show you. I'm gonna slide these off of there. So this is winter brew, and I'm gonna take it out so you can see it without the glare. It's a darker, kind of slightly yellow neutral. Has a little bit of lights and darks, you can see it here, but it's not an in-your-face kind of modeling. The colors in this one are gorgeous. And I think y'all should run to your LNS, buy this, and start stitching on it, because I'm not going to have time, but I want to see someone doing it. So there are the colors. Pretty, huh? You like that? You want to stitch it. And that concludes the what's new in the shop portion of this video. What have I been working on? Not much. I have a little bit of progress on Fractor Flowers. That's what it's supposed to look like. Of course, mine does not, because I'm stitching it on 40 count Murky, and I did a conversion to overdyes. So that's what mine looks like. I think this banding down here is, it's the top of the bowl. Top of the bowl. And I think that's what I've gotten done since the last time I showed it. So there you go. Up close. Still loving this piece. I'll be glad when it's done because I want to see it finished. Hawk Run. This is Hawk Run month, so in August this is what I've been working on, and I am doing block number 4. I'm not sure I'm going to make my goal, but I'm close. It's going to be close. Depends on how much stitching time I get this weekend. It'll be close. So there's the entire thing, and there's my block number 4. So I've got some down here underneath to do, and a little branch or something over here. Fence. There's a fence here. But I'm close. But that's my... Still having fun stitching this one too. I wish I was halfway done, but I'm not, so that's life. Okay, I did the Plum Street Sampler giveaway a couple of videos ago, and I asked y'all to tell me what your favorite one was, and my favorite Plum Street has been Harvest Keeper, but I've never stitched it. So I decided that was wrong. How can I have a favorite Plum Street and not have stitched it? So here's Harvest Keeper if you're not familiar with it. Picture does not do it justice. Trust me on that. It calls for 35 count Confederate gray. I think I'm using 36 count Confederate gray, or 40 count. Might be 40 count. I'd have to look. So I'm not very far, but that's what that looks like. I love this beehive. Love, love, love it. So I feel good. I'm starting my favorite Plum Street. Don't know why it took me so long. I finished It's Spring Fever, which is the first in the Loose Feather series for the birds. I stitched it on 40 count Wren, which I wish I hadn't, but I did. So you know me, I'm not a big Wren fan. It looks good. I just probably would have preferred something else, but for once I decided to stitch on what it says. Anyway, there's that. I really like the newest one. It hasn't arrived yet. But I like the look of it from what I see online, so I'm probably going to have to do that one next. But anyway, still love this bird here. Love that checkerboard in there. The colors are yummy. And I do have a finishing idea for this. But I have to do at least 3 of them in order to finish it. So that's just going to stay unframed and unfinished for who knows how long. I don't, because I don't know. Rodney has a couple things for me to show. The first one is his potted posy sampler. I showed you Shirley's, I think in the last video. And Rodney did his on a light colored fabric. So his looks a little bit different from what Shirley's did. And he chose not to put all of the Tell an Emblem patterns come with this little brass emblem. And it's supposed to go over here on the chart. Rodney chose not to do that. So he just put his initials and the year on it. Love the butterfly. Anyway, it looks entirely different on different fabrics. It's kind of cool sometimes to see the difference that a fabric can make, or changing the floss color. it's amazing what the same pattern looks so different. Next up is his Hawk Run. He's doing Christmas at Hawk Run, and I've shown you his blocks that he's done. He just finished this one. I'm going to give you a close-up of that, as close as I can. That's what that looks like. And here is his finish. It is gorgeous in person. Just beautiful. Look at all that fill. But it just makes the block. It's beautiful. Had a lot of people that have come in and seen Rodney working on the Christmas at Hawk Run and have been inspired to buy it and start that one because the colors are just gorgeous. So that's what I have to show you so far. The stitchers are due here in another, I don't know, half hour at most. And I might just pause this and see if anyone has anything they want to share, or I might just end it. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, I've pulled a couple of pieces off the wall. Thought I would share with you. Barbara Anna is one of my favorite designers. Her pieces are kind of quirky, but they're fun, and but I don't know, they just appeal to me. So one of my favorites, and I didn't stitch this one belongs to Mary Ann, the previous owner of the shop, but she's gracious enough to let me keep her stuff hanging on the walls. It's Midnight, one of my favorites. And it says, if I can read it, "'Tis now the very witching time of night," which is apparently a Shakespeare. I'm not a big Shakespeare person. Apparently it's a Shakespeare quote. Mary Ann chose not to make hers into a pillow and do this or do this stuff on the side. She just did the main stitching and we framed it up like that. The colors are scrumptious. The picture doesn't do it justice. It's in my to-do pile because I'm pretty sure Mary Ann's going to want to take this home and instead of giving it to me, which she should do just because she loves me, but I don't think she will. And then this one is kind of how I'm feeling lately. It's by Kathy Barrick. It's called Good Intentions, and the quote on it is, "I myself am made entirely of flaws stitched together with good intentions." And I have had good intentions all summer long to do all kinds of different things, and it just didn't happen. So I just feel like this is really me right now. That's the chart. This is my version. I changed the fabric. I think this is Confederate gray. 40 count. Let's try and make it straight, Julie. It's hard to do that. I was going to send it to the fair, but I wasn't real happy with her French knot eyes. I mean, they're not bad, but I already had 9. I sent 9 things to the fair, so I thought, well, this can wait another year and I'll send it next year. Because it's not we have 3 years. You can send anything you've stitched within the last 3 years to our fair. And next year would be the 3rd year for this one, so I'll save it and send it next year. But anyway, it's one of my favorite pieces. And I like the frame I chose on that. It's kind of reddish. My lighting is really bad today. And I don't know, I think it looks to me like the sound is not quite right either. I was having computer problems. Did I mention that? A little bit of computer issues this morning. So I'm hoping this turns out okay because I really don't want to do it again. I had a customer, not a customer. I had a commenter on my last video that asked me to tell the story about how I started framing, which I don't know if I've already told that story or not, but I told her I would in my next video, which is this video. So once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was a woman named Julie who served lunch at the school cafeteria, and that wasn't really something she wanted to do for the rest of her life, and eventually she quit. But before she quit, she was talking to some of the other gals that she was working with, because she had a piece, a mirabilia piece, lavender and lace, one of those two, that she had cheaped out and taken to a big box store. Couldn't afford a custom frame for it, so it had uneven borders. The top and bottom were wider than the sides, and I'm a very balanced person, so it drove me nuts. And I had taken the piece apart, and I had discovered that while I had paid for acid-free mats and foam board on this piece, that wasn't what I had gotten. And so I was asking my fellow cafeteria workers if they had any recommendations on where to take it. And one of the gals recommended a place called American Reflections, which was a little shop in downtown Papillion that I had never heard of. I had seen it and thought it was an insurance company. I don't know why. There was no framing in the windows or anything. It's American Reflections. Just the sign looked like it was an insurance company sign. So I had never gone anywhere near there. But I took my little piece in there and talked to them about reframing it. And while I was there, I asked them if they ever, because I was so disappointed in paying for acid-free and not getting acid-free. That just really chapped my behind. And so I decided I wanted to learn how to do it myself. Now, not everybody can frame. You have to have not just one, not just two, not just three. You have to have lots of anal bones in your body in order to frame, because people don't want to pay what they have to pay for custom framing just to get a crap ass job. So you have to be anal, you have to have an eye for color, and you have to be able to work with difficult customers. But while I was there, I thought I would ask if they ever took on an intern. I'd work for free if they would teach me how to frame. And there were two gals there, Kim and Cora, and they said, well, would you ever consider buying the place? And I'm like, well, I don't know if I'd be any good at it. Why would I buy something, a business that I have no idea whether I'd be any good? And so they agreed to have me come in, and they would show me the ropes, and then I would need to make a decision as to whether I was interested in buying it or not, because they were interested in selling. And so I started, went in every day. They kind of taught me the ropes a little bit, and about 2 weeks went by, and Cora finally asked me if I was interested in buying the shop. And during that 2-week time period, Dan had lost his job. He'd been laid off So there was, even if I'd wanted to, there was no way I could buy the shop. And so I said, well, you know, I might, because I was enjoying the work. I don't know that I knew if I was going to be any good at it at that point, but I was enjoying the work. So I explained that, you know, Dan had lost his job and there was just no way. So Cora showed me the door. She said, then we're done, you're out. So I went home. Started looking for a job, and it was maybe a week or so later I got a call from Kim, and Cora had up and walked out of the business and left Kim holding the bag for it. And Kim had a little, I think Tanner was 18 months at the time. So she had an 18-month-old, and she could not do it by herself. So she asked me if I would come and work for her, which I said sure. And then she said, but I can't afford to pay you. She said, you can do any framing that you want free, but I can't afford to pay you a wage. I said sure. By this time, Dan had managed to find another job. So financially, I was able to go in and work for nothing. Money was still tight because he wasn't making a ton of money, but if we were frugal, I could afford to work for free and see whether this was going to be something that I wanted to do. So that's exactly what I did. I started going in every day. I worked for free. I did any framing that I wanted to do for free. And things were tooling right along. And we got to the holiday season, and Kim was diagnosed with breast cancer. So she had to go take care of that, and she left me in charge of the shop. Now, at this time, I probably only had 6 weeks experience, maybe 2 months experience. Definitely not enough to be running the store at the holiday rush. But she didn't have anyone else. So I dove in with both feet and made the best of it, and people seemed to be okay with what I was doing. So eventually Kim came back. She was in remission, and she would bop in and out, but she just couldn't do the long days and stuff. So we made it through the holiday season, and she came back, and 4 years later I was still there. Still just working for framing. And I know what you're thinking. Why would you put 8 hours a day into a job and not be paid? But I fell in love with framing. I fell in love with finding the right mats and right frame for the customers, and the look on people's faces when they would pick up their artwork, because at that time it was mostly artwork. It wasn't my needlework was about the only needlework we were doing. But the look on people's faces when they would pick up their framed pieces was heartwarming and very, trying to think of the word, gratifying. That's the word, gratifying. And so I just stayed on. And then one day Kim came to work and she said, I'm selling the shop. The new owners are going to come in and talk to you. And they did. And I told them I could not continue to work for free. I'd done it for 4 years. I felt I now deserved to get a paycheck for it. Luckily, they agreed, and so when Jim and Mary Ann bought the store, then I became a paid employee, and the rest is history. I worked for them for 7 or 8 years and bought the store myself almost 2 years ago now. We added cross stitch in shortly after they bought it because the market crashed. The economy tanked in 2008, and we needed something else to keep people coming through the door. So we added in cross stitch, and again, the rest is history. That's how I became a framer. I still love framing. Age is starting to take a toll, though. Doing a big, huge 40 by 60 piece is probably not in my wheelhouse anymore. I'm just not strong enough to lift 40 by 60 piece of glass. It's a big ass piece of glass, and it's heavy and awkward, and the chances of getting hurt are pretty good. So I've had to turn away work because of that. And kind of what goes around comes around, circle of life and all that. I'm having Kim come in to help with the framing. Her son is now in high school, and she's not working, so I called her up and asked if she wouldn't mind coming in and assisting me. I still do all the stretching because it seems like the customers don't want anyone else to touch their needlework, but she comes in and puts it in the frame and everything, finishes it up, and she's framing the few prints and artwork pieces that we get in. She can do those on her own. So we're working together again, which is kind of nice because we got along pretty well those 4 years that we worked together before. And that is the story of how Julie became a framer. Basically, it boiled down to I didn't trust anyone else with my stuff, so I wanted to be the only one touching it. And someday I realized that baton will have to be passed on. It would be nice if I could find another me. But I haven't run across anyone who's stupid enough to work for free for 4 years. So somehow I highly doubt that I will. It would be nice, though. I would like to be able to pass that on, but I don't know that I will. Anyway, it is almost 10:30 now, and I should probably turn the open sign on because I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to pause it, and I may come back and just finish it up, but we'll see if anyone's got anything interesting to show today. So hang on. So as you can see, nobody wanted to share anything today, but I did think of one other thing that I wanted to share with y'all, and that was regarding the state fair. We had 11 send things to the fair through my friend Lori, who drove to Omaha, picked everybody's stuff up, and took it back to Grand Island where the fair is held. And I'm including Lori in that 11 for a total of 49 counted cross-stitch pieces. The fair starts tomorrow, so we should have results here pretty soon. And I will let you know how we all do in the next video. Other than that, I think I'm going to stick a fork in this and call it good. I'm hoping it turns out okay. Kind of out of practice. and I will try my hardest to not wait so long for the next video. I'm thinking that maybe since the kids are gone and out of the house, things will slow down a little bit, but you just never know what's going to happen next. So anyway, y'all have a lovely evening, and I'm gonna scoot on out of here, head to Hobby Lobby, and then home hopefully for some more stitching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.